All right, we're live. Just see if anybody. Okay, I've got one person, 2 people. Awesome. Okay, well, it is 3 o'clock, and today our Wellbeing snack for today is foot care. So we're going to just go over a few things about how to really take care of your feet, especially for people who do spend a lot of time on their feet at work, or people who are really active throughout their day. Some people walk a lot around campus, and when you're around the office, and obviously people who run a lot as well need to think about how you can look after your feet. So just behind me, I've been sitting there for about 10 minutes and soaking my feet in a bucket of really nice hot water. So I'm just gonna come back here and put my feet back in the bucket. I don't know if you can quite see my bucket. I've got a towel, I've got a bucket here of hot water, and I've been soaking my feet for about 10-15 minutes. I've added in some cleansing foot soak little salts, which is quite like Epsom salts. So if you haven't got anything fancy like this, you can put a couple of tablespoons of Epsom salts into your hot water, and you can sit with a nice jug of hot water, and you just top it up as you go. So looking after your nice hot feet, and it feels quite comfortable. If your bucket is too small for your feet, you might need a square tub, and it's really nice. Like, I mean, if we're working from home, you can easily put a foot soak under your desk and have some foot therapy while you're working, which I think is a really great thing. So I'm going to have my feet in my bucket for a while, and then I'll dry that off, and I will take you through some basic foot stretches, and we've got a tennis ball and bits and pieces. But what I wanted to talk about is just general foot care, how to take care of your feet and why you need to take care of your feet. So our feet do a lot of work, and we quite often forget to look after our feet. So make sure you wash your feet often, you dry your feet really well, and in between the toes you use moisturizer. So here I've got some moisturizing foot balm, and it's a nice citrus mint scented foot balm, which I sometimes put on my feet after I've soaked them from going on a long run. Cut your toenails really carefully. So make sure that you've got a really good pair of clippers, a nice big size pair of clippers, so they can get around the large toe. If you have trouble with clipping your toenails and really doing a good job, you may need to go and see a podiatrist to take care of your nails. One other little thing that you can have is a little rough pumice thing, so you can rub all of the excessive dry skin off your feet as well. So you can pick these up at the chemist for a couple of dollars, and they can work really, really well to get rid of the dry skin and the cracks in the heels as well. What other tips have we got? My mother used to work at Valentine's in the shoe department many, many years ago. I think when she was about 19, and she's 74 now, so it's quite a while ago. And her tip to us when we grew up was always do your shoe shopping in the afternoon, because your feet swell during the day. So if you try on your shoes in the morning and then you go and use them later on in the day or after you've been on your feet, they'll probably be too tight. So the best time to go shopping for shoes is in the afternoon, once you've let your feet swell up as well. And usually one foot may be slightly bigger than the other, so by trying shoes on in the morning, you might end up getting the wrong size. So shoe shopping in the afternoon is a really good tip for foot care and getting the right pair of shoes. So the right pair of shoes. So when I go road running, I use road running shoes, okay? And then when I go trail running, I use trail running shoes. If I go tramping, I use a good pair of tramping shoes. So whatever you are doing and wherever you are, make sure you've chosen the right shoe for what you're doing. And if you are unsure, make sure that when you go shoe shopping, you get somebody to fit the shoes for you properly, rather than sort of saying, oh, that'll do, it's nice, you know, that'll do, I'll get around with those shoes. But really be careful about how, when, and why you're going to buy the shoes you buy. One more tip, limit your use of wearing high heel shoes. When you wear high heel shoes, you put a lot of pressure on the joint. So if you do wear high heel shoes for work, just make sure that before work and after work, when you are going from the car or getting home again, you're wearing just a flat shoe, because you want to limit the stress and the strain onto the joint, especially if you're developing bunions and things like that as well. What else have we got? At the end of the day, if your feet are really sore and you've got sore legs, lie down on the floor and elevate your legs. Your feet are probably quite hot and quite swollen throughout the day, and they need a chance to drain the excess fluid away from the feet, down into the legs and into the heart. So if you do quite often get sore feet, soak your feet at the end of the day, lie down on the floor and elevate your feet. It does do wonders for you at the end of the day. Okay, so the other thing is with socks. So I've got a pair of cotton socks here and a pair of merino socks. Now I use cotton socks for just every day around work and bits and pieces, but when I'm outside or I'm exercising or doing something that's going to take a rough and tumble, I like to have a really good quality pair of merino socks. Now you can have merino socks for your, good quality work socks as well, and they breathe really, really well. So you can get different thickness of cotton socks and merino socks, and have a go. Try different types on. There are different varieties out there, but a good quality merino sock, you just can't go wrong. So invest in a good couple of pairs of merino socks, and I use those a lot when I trail run, because A, they don't give me blisters, B, that they breathe, and they also can dry quite quickly. So good socks, good shoes, and that'll see you right. Okay, so I've had my feet soaking now for probably about 20 minutes, and they feel quite good, so I'll take them out of the bucket. Good old Epsom salts, I'll dry them off. Okay, now I'll get my spiky ball. So I'm just standing, I've got my spiky ball here. I'm just going to put an even amount of pressure on my foot and just roll it round underneath the plantar fascia of the sole of the foot. There's a lot of muscles in your feet, and we really do forget to look after our feet. Hands up who's had swollen feet. It's not very pleasant. Or really itchy feet on a hot day. If you get really itchy feet from your feet being swollen on a hot day or after a long run, plunge those feet into some cold water and bring that swelling down. Sometimes an ice bath can be quite nice when you've got sore feet. So if you haven't got a spiky ball, get a good tennis ball, nice and hard, and the same thing again. Sometimes a tennis ball can squash a little bit, so it just depends what you like. Some people's feet are very sensitive to the touch, so you can challenge how much pressure you put on through the sole of your feet as well. You can hold the pressure on the bottom of the muscle of the foot and wait for it to relax. When the muscle relaxes, you can then start moving again. So nice pressure, nice and evenly through the foot. Rolling it round, you can roll it around clockwise. I generally at the moment, I like to put pressure on it front and back. I painted my toenails today because my toenails aren't the nicest from running. There we go. So that's just a couple of minutes of rolling on a tennis ball and a spiky ball and give your feet a bit of a wiggle. One other thing you can do is hang your foot off the step or off the edge of a decking, or make sure you're holding on, and we want to stretch the sole of the foot into the Achilles tendon and the calf muscles. So the calf muscles extend and come down, and the tissue under the sole of the foot is very heavily involved with the mechanics of the lower leg. So if your calf muscles are really tight, your Achilles tendons are in a shortened position, and that pulls right underneath the sole of the foot and can cause tension either in the sole of the foot or into the calf muscles. So if you're always stretching calves, and you're not getting the release, maybe you need to release the sole of the foot to help the whole system come right. You do find that we forget about our feet, so this is a really good strategy to look after our lower legs and our ankle as well. So stretching that sole of the foot, a static stretch, nice and supported, and not too much weight in through the toes. There is another yoga move where you can sit. I'll just come side on, and you can sit onto your feet, onto your toes, and that stretches underneath the plantar surface of the toes. And by stretching the toes and the tendons, it helps stretching underneath the sole of the foot. So supported on top of your toes, you can really stretch under the foot. You can hold that there for a minute or two. And I can already tell, because I've worked on one foot, it's much nicer than the other foot. So I've only done one side. So back again, stretching on a step, nice and low, supported, sustained stretch. You can move the foot up and down and really releasing through the ankle. I'll get my tennis ball again, and we will just put some pressure on that tennis ball, massaging under the sole of the foot. If you find that spot when you think, oh geez, that's it, that's really, really tight and quite sore, you may have a little trigger point in the muscle there, and just hold the pressure nice and evenly without too much pain, and let the muscle relax. Okay, what else can we say about change your socks? Oh, my last thing that I really, really love, and I use quite often to look after your shoes, not only change the laces whenever you can, but a good old Green's Remedy. Really great stuff to keep your feet nice and dry, to stop any fungal infection, any moisture or sweating in through your shoes. So by changing your socks regularly, put a bit of Green's Remedy in the shoe, swizzle it around, stretching your feet, soaking your feet, and really looking after your feet, you'll find that they'll feel much better throughout the day. Okay, well, that is my wellness snack for today about foot care. Go home tonight if you're not home already, because we're back into it a wee bit. And otherwise, treat yourself to a really nice hot foot bath tonight. Give it some exercises, put some moisturizer on your feet, and put your feet up and chill out. Okay, thanks everybody. That's it today for the Wellbeing snack. We've got some things coming up this afternoon. We are back into it this week with our online exercises on through our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. So check it out, take care, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.